So good morning friends, a very warm welcome to the ISF guys. Let's start the session. Let's see what's there for us in today's newspaper. तो जल्दी से शुरू करेंगे आज के अखबार में हमारे लिए क्या खास है. अखिल, राम मोहन, सचिन, प्रांजल, यमन, प्रिया कुमारी, नवीन, मोहित, गुड मॉर्निंग. चलिए शुरू करते हैं. प्रांजल, लॉन्ग टाइम. चलिए. So let's start with these words. Now Plato is basically saying few things here. Okay, so he's saying that, just give me a minute. Okay, now he says that we can easily forgive a child who is afraid of dark. The real tragedy of the life is when men are afraid of light. The real tragedy when men are afraid of light. Now before starting this particular, you can say, quotation, let me tell you, this was asked in your mains 2014 GS paper 4, that we can easily forgive a child. Now childhood is a stage, it's a learning stage. At that stage you are still learning, you are not that mature. Still you will get to know about new things, new experiences. Those experiences are going to be there, okay, that will mold your personality. So they are saying that when the child is in the developing stage, at that stage we can understand that he can commit some mistakes. So as he can commit some mistakes, we can forgive him. If that child is fearful of anything, there are chances that we can forgive him. अगर वो डर रहा है किसी चीज से तो हम उन्हें माफ कर सकते हैं, forgive कर सकते हैं. इसका ये मतलब हो गया. Then he says that the real tragedy of the life is when men are afraid of the light. Light here precisely means the truth. That we cannot go ahead with this approach throughout our life, that you are fearful of multiple things. डर डर के आप काम नहीं करोगे, ये चीज नहीं चलती है. You have to identify the truth and accordingly you have to move ahead in your life. And if you are not doing this, this is the real tragedy in your life. This is what Plato wants to say. So we have to think about these ideas, that initially mistakes can be there, but later in our life you have to identify it. By that time you need to develop those capabilities so that you can sustain even in that particular environment. This is what Plato's message is about. आगे बढ़ते हैं. Now in today's newspaper we will be dealing with Silicon Valley Bank collapse. Okay, so another major issue and we will be taking it up. इसको थोड़ा और देखेंगे क्या है यहाँ पे. So I have added few things beyond what is there in The Hindu. The Hindu hasn't provided us with the reason why this Silicon Valley Bank has collapsed. So we will be taking it up. Okay, important issue है, थोड़ा नया चल रहा है आजकल. Same sex marriage debate is again going on. So you must already be knowing about this thing, that under Special Marriage Act, you can say a petition has been filed in the court that same sex marriage should be recognized under Special Marriage Act. Now court is going to look into this. Government has produced affidavit. Let's look into this fact. Fake video in Tamil Nadu migrant worker issue. Okay, so yesterday or a day before yesterday I mentioned about this development, that in Tamil Nadu it was primarily due to the fake video. So we'll deal with this. How to end the Ukraine war, no one has the answer to this. Okay, reimagining rural urban dichotomy, देखेंगे इसको. Adultery related debate is there. Okay, rise of ESG regulation, environmental, social and governance related regulation. So basically private companies के ऊपर burden पड़ता है इसको देखेंगे. Right to health bill, Rajasthan has brought it. Again it's a debate. Saudi Iran deal, now this has been negotiated by China. Another important interesting development कि चाइना ने क्या किया है ऐसा जो ये deal हो गई. देखिए ये सुन्नी शिया डिवाइड, दिस इज अ कल्चरल डिवाइड दैट इज देयर. तो ये बहुत बड़ी डेवलपमेंट है. नाउ गाइडलाइंस फॉर नेट जीरो वेस्ट. So these are the things that we will be looking into, and then let's start with the important topic for the day, that is your Silicon Valley Bank collapse. And what led to this particular development. Before starting it, let me tell you a few things. Now, Silicon Valley Bank, if you see, it is the 16th largest bank in United States, and it has collapsed. Okay, they have filed the bankruptcy. They don't have money. Now, there are significant developments responsible for this, but the point is this is the alarming time. ये alarm बज जाना चाहिए. Now, our experts, finance department related people, they are pointing towards few things, that India is majorly not going to be impacted by that, okay, and it is going to hit only some of the startups and the IT firms for now. Other than that, it is not going to make a big impact on the Indian scenario. This is what they are saying, okay. But you have to understand, this highlights, can we say it's a beginning of global recession? Because it is all about sentiments. Now, this major bank, it has failed in United States, world's biggest economy. I hope you recall the 2008 financial crisis. Now, that financial crisis also started with the collapse of the banks. So, we might be witnessing same thing. Now, banks are already under pressure. They are not getting business. Specifically, when Federal Reserve, it is increasing the interest rate. Okay, so this is what is happening there. Bank को पैसा कहाँ से मिलता है? Bank पैसा बनाता है loan देके. Okay, now credit is costly in America. Earlier they used to have very minimum, you can say, charge for that, and banks used to make money. But right now, the overall environment is like this. The loans are costly there. Already their Federal Reserve, they are tightening the monetary policy. So this is one scenario that is going on. Now, other than this, there are multiple reasons, and those are quite interesting. Dekhte hain. So one reason is this downturn in the technology stock over the past year. Basically, this is how banks operate. Okay, so you are a depositor. You are going to put up your money with the bank. आप डिपॉजिटर हो, आपने पैसा डाला, सेविंग्स अकाउंट बनाया उसके अंदर, ओके, एंड यू आर गोइंग टू पुट अप मनी. दैट मनी बैंक विल बी यूजिंग इट टू गिव, मीन्स फॉर लोन देने के लिए. बैंक विल बाय सम बॉन्ड्स, कुछ बॉन्ड बैंक खरीदेगा, बैंक में इन्वेस्ट इन द स्टॉक एज वेल, ओके. तो वो पैसा इस तरीके से चलता हो ना. दिस इज द नॉर्मल बैंकिंग सिस्टम, दिस इज द नॉर्मल प्रोसेस. इसके अंदर कुछ ऊपर नीचे नहीं होगा. The point is this, they bought some of the technology stocks. Those stocks went down. उनकी वैल्यू कम हो गई. It means that value of assets in which the bank has invested, that value has gone down. Maybe this is the temporary thing. In the coming future, the value can go up as well. ऊपर भी जा सकता है वो, जरूरी नहीं है खराब ही होगा. Other important point is this, एक तो asset down हो गई. Federal Reserve continuously it is increasing the rates, and this is impacting the other banking scenarios as well. Loan नहीं मिलेगा, वो मैंने बता दिया आपको. Now, there has been significant development. As I told you, bank, they bought billions of dollars worth of bonds. Bonds इन्होंने खरीदे यहाँ पे, इन्वेस्ट किया उसके अंदर. अब एक इंटरेस्टिंग पॉइंट ये आता है, सिलिकन जो ये वैली बैंक है, इसके मेजर क्लाइंट कौन हैं? क्लाइंट्स आर मेजरली स्टार्टअप्स, बिग कंपनीज. दे आर द मेजर क्लाइंट्स ऑफ दिस सिलिकन वैली बैंक. आम जनता यहां से लोन नहीं लेती है, बड़े बड़े स्टार्टअप लोन लेते हैं. उनके अकाउंट्स हैं यहां पे. दे आर पुटिंग अप देयर मनी इन दिस. मिनिमम क्राइटेरिया टू पुट अप अ मनी इज $250,000. $250,000 इतना अमाउंट आपको रखना पड़ेगा यहाँ पे. ऐसा कुछ सिस्टम है इनका. तो बड़े खिलाड़ी ही आते हैं, बिग प्लेयर्स ओनली दे आर देयर. नाउ startups, they have their accounts, and startups across the world, they are witnessing the cash crunch. इंडिया के अंदर भी जो स्टार्टअप हैं एडटेक वाले, वो भी कैश क्रंच फील कर रहे हैं. इट इज स्टेटेड दैट राइट नाउ विंटर इज गोइंग ऑन. आज की दुनिया चल रही है विंटर की. फंडिंग नहीं आ रही है, इन्वेस्टमेंट नहीं हो रही है. नाउ दीज स्टार्टअप्स, दे आर विटनेसिंग द विंटर, सो दे हैव टू बर्न देयर ओन कैश. इनको अपना कैश बर्न करना पड़ रहा है अंडर द प्रेजेंट सिनेरियो, एंड दे आर होल्डिंग अप देयर अकाउंट इन सिलिकॉन वैली बैंक. ये सैलरीज देने के लिए अपना पैसा विड्रॉ कर रहे हैं, और दैट मनी वॉज विड्रॉन ऑन अ बल्क स्केल. मल्टीपल स्टार्टअप्स दे स्टार्टेड विड्रॉइंग मनी, क्योंकि आज की डेट में उनके पास अपना पैसा ही इनको बर्न करना पड़ रहा है, इन्वेस्टर का पैसा नहीं आ रहा है. दिस इज द सिनेरियो गोइंग ऑन, ये चल रहा है यहां पे. सो I told you customers and largely startups or tech centric companies. Now their capital funding is drying up, so they have to, you can say, use their own money. अपना पैसा यूज कर रहे हैं. अब एक इंटरेस्टिंग पॉइंट ये होता है इसमें, बैंक के ऊपर बर्डन पड़ गया, customers are withdrawing their deposits and at a large scale. So this bank, they started selling their assets. जो भी इनके पास एसेट थे वो इन्होंने बेचने शुरू कर दिए, इवन ऑन लॉसेस. जो बॉन्ड खरीदे थे उसकी मैच्योरिटी अभी नहीं है, वो आने वाले टाइम पे आएगी. स्टॉक्स, टेक्नोलॉजी स्टॉक्स, वैल्यूज वर, टेक्नोलॉजी स्टॉक की वैल्यू कम चल रही है, मार्केट नहीं उठ रही है, सो एसेट की वैल्यू कम है, एंड दिस बैंक स्टार्टेड सेलिंग अप दोज पर्टिकुलर एसेट्स टू बेसिकली मेक एन अरेंजमेंट फॉर कस्टमर्स. भाई नाम खराब हो जाएगा, आपका बैंक अकाउंट में आपने पैसे रखे हैं, पता लगे अगले दिन की बैंक आप पैसे ही नहीं निकाल सकते, आपका पैसा डूब गया. सो दे वर डीलिंग विद देयर रेपुटेशन इशू एज वेल. सो दे हैड दिस प्रेशर दैट दे हैव टू रीपे द अमाउंट दैट द कस्टमर्स आर विड्रॉइंग. सो दे स्टार्टेड सेलिंग देयर ओन एसेट्स टू मीट दिस रिक्वायरमेंट. Now the point is this, customers, they got to know that this bank is not in good shape. खबर फैल जाती है, ये दुनिया इतनी इंटरकनेक्टेड है. They got to know कि हमारा पैसा डूब जाएगा, and they started withdrawing their money at a bulk stage. और ये जो कॉर्पोरेट खाते होते हैं, they are very fearful. They are very fearful of the bank failure. So deposits were withdrawn on a bulk scale, and that led to the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank. ये पूरी कहानी है और कितनी कड़ियां इसके अंदर जुड़ी हुई हैं. How connected these things are. So it is really important to understand the overall scenario, that this is the environment going on. Now, Indian startups will be impacted. अब आप इसको समझिए, थोड़े बहुत impact होंगे, but in US is already, you can say, dealing with the global economic slowdown. Their economy is down, okay, growth rate is not picking up, और साथ में इस टाइप की चीज हो गई है, and it is expected more than 1 lakh people in United States, they are going to lose their jobs. Lot of people will be fired from these startups. अब इन startups का पैसा अटक गया है. And as per the report in the morning, there were some news notifications. Those notifications were like this, that Federal Reserve, now Federal Reserve has given the assurance that your paisa, your amount, till $250,000, it will be insured. आपके अकाउंट में जितना पैसा है, मिनिमम $250,000 आपको मिलेगा उसमें से. But these are big companies. They may be having more money than this $250,000. So that's the scenario. $250,000 तक तो वो इंश्योर कर देंगे, पक्का दे देंगे, ऊपर वाले की कोई गारंटी नहीं है. So this sort of trouble is going on right now, and this explains the overall scenario. Now when you are dealing with this type of thing, it is important. देखिए ये point है that we should think about, you can say, coordinated effort with among the G20 central banks. At least ये तो अब होना चाहिए, okay? And definitely in the G20 summit as well, this particular, you can say, issue is to be discussed. They'll try to explore that the damage doesn't spread out to the world. Now please pay attention here. This is not an end in US. In Europe as well, UK. Now UK government, they are taking cognizance of this development, and they are planning that how to shield the UK based startups. क्योंकि ये सिलिकॉन वैली के जो बैंक हैं, इनके अरेंजमेंट, जितना भी इनका नेटवर्क है, it has spread out across the world. So this is the new development that is taking place. Already the European markets, they are, you can say, preparing for this eventuality. ये आज की डेट में चल रहा है, and one of the major reason is Ukraine-Russia war. और आज ही आप देखेंगे how to end a war. The question is that because Europeans, they are also draining out. There is a term called war fatigue. The world is witnessing this war fatigue. सब थक गए हैं. When this war is going to end? There are experts who are of this opinion that this might lead to the development that the world is going to accept what's the situation in Ukraine. यूक्रेनियन गवर्नमेंट को समझाया जाएगा जितना एरिया रशिया ने ले लिया उनको बिठाओ, आप भी आगे बढ़ो. This might be the new development in the coming days. So we have to wait and watch how things will progress, but this is how things are interrelated. Clear? Geopolitical challenges are developing or inflating the economic challenges. That's the major trouble here. तो वो हो रहा है आज की डेट में. आगे बढ़ते हैं. So we have this news again from the first page. Same-sex union can rock the societal values. This is what center is putting up. Okay. So ये एक affidavit है जो center ने दिया है. Now that affidavit, center is saying that the institution of marriage is sacrosanct. And when you talk about the institution is sacrosanct, they are saying that the marriage can be consummate between only male and female. And they are talking about the biological male and female. This is what government is. They are saying that it is part of our, you can say, holy union, संस्कार, और हमें इन सब की चीजों को आगे नहीं बढ़ने देना है. ये गवर्नमेंट का टेक है. ओके. The point is this, there has been development. Now you already know that section 377, it has been, you can say, decriminalized. इसको decriminalize कर दिया गया है. Okay. The sexual intercourse between the same sexes, it has been declared decriminalized. This is the development. ठीक है जी, इतना कर दिया गया है. Now contrary to that, they are saying that if you are decriminalizing it, why can't the marriages be registered under Special Marriage Act? So considering this point, this petition has been filed. Now court is debating it, होगा कि नहीं होगा वो separate चीज है. Court has said till now that parliament, it should design and frame certain laws. वो देखेगा parliament ही. But there are certain constitutional debates associated with this. One is right to equality. Now, how can you treat two individuals differently? That biological males and female, okay, they can register their marriage. वो तो register करा सकते हैं, but not the same sex couples. Why is it so? This is one debate. Okay, you are treating them unequally. Inequality आ रही है. Other point is this, right to life. Now they say that it includes your right to privacy as well. So sexual intercourse and other things, it is part of someone's privacy, and this right to privacy also includes right to choose your life partner. आप अपना लाइफ पार्टनर भी चूज कर सकते हो, ये आपका राइट है. It is inclusive of that. And this has been asked in UPSC as well, that Article 21 is inclusive of right to choose your life partner. ये तो आ भी चुका है सवाल. अब इसके अंदर एक मेजर सवाल ये बनता है, if that is the case, why can't we have a provision for marriage registration? So this debate is going on right now. At one point, I would say this is the debate between modern law under constitution versus the cultural traditions. This is one thing that is going on. They are saying that it is part of our culture. We cannot allow same-sex marriage and all. ऐसा बोल रहे हैं. Other debate is around this fundamental question here. एक तो ये हो गया. Other is about constitutional morality versus societal morality. That what is constitutionally moral is different from what society thinks is moral. So the debate has to be carried out under these particular questions, and Supreme Court will come out of it. तो हमें wait and watch करना है कि क्या इस पे Supreme Court judgment देता है. So they say that despite the statutory recognition of relationship or marriage between biological man and biological woman, marriage necessarily depends upon age-old customs, rituals, practices, cultural ethos and societal values. This is the government affidavit. ये सरकार का point of view है. So the court is going to consider it whether it is to be implemented, accepted or not. ये उस debate पे लेके जाएगा हमें. So this is what the things have been. Now आगे चलते हैं. Video alleging attack on migrant workers in Tamil Nadu shot in Patna. This is what Bihar police has concluded right now. And I would like to say that India के अंदर हालात कितने खराब हैं आप खुद ब खुद आइडिया लगा सकते हो. Basically this rumor, it was given the ground as two important Hindi newspaper, they published this particular news in their newspaper. सारी situation बिगड़ी ही तब. It was a fake video, and two important newspaper, I cannot take the name, very popular newspaper, Hindi based newspaper, they published this, and next day definitely people are relying on the newspaper, credibility है उस newspaper की. So this is how things are happening. Now the problem is this, media houses, they have stopped the fact checking. No one is checking the fact. And not only that, this irresponsibility is also attached to the Bihar government as well. That Bihar government didn't make any statement. Now they are coming up with this news. अब आ रही है ना खबर बाहर. For at least 2 days. कोई खबर नहीं थी इसकी. Leaders were silent about it. That was happening. And this shows where we are going wrong, specifically when it comes to media. इसको media के साथ link करना है आपको. Now, no one is checking the fact what's the reality of that video, whether it's original or not. उसके पर तो कोई बात ही नहीं चल रही है. दूसरी चीज, media कैसे काम कर रहा है आजकल? That is TRP. For you can say television, it will be TRP. They want publicity. They don't want to be left out. भी हमारे यहाँ हाथ से कोई खबर ना बच जाए. So this competition is very dangerous, because under this competition what we are witnessing is this, that truth is somewhere lost. सत्य कहीं ना कहीं खोता जा रहा है. आज के डेट में ये चीज हमें सुनने को मिल रही है. And we should take this thing quite seriously. At least now this is the time we need to have a dedicated law dealing with fake news. फेक न्यूज के साथ आपको इस तरीके से डील करना पड़ेगा. डिफाइन व्हाट इज फेक न्यूज. बट चीजें डिफिकल्ट होंगी. वी आर लिविंग इन एन एरा आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस. आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस इतना एडवांस हो गया है. वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट डीप फेक्स. आज के डेट में हम डीप फेक्स की बात करते हैं. वेयर डिस्टिंक्शन बिटवीन रियल एंड द फेक हैज ऑल्सो बीइंग ब्लर्ड. बिल्कुल ब्लर कर दी गई है कि आपको पता ही नहीं लगेगा कि ये वीडियो असली है कि नकली है. दिस इज हाउ गुड द टेक्नोलॉजी इज इन द प्रेजेंट टाइम. सो वी हैव टू टेक थिंग्स वेरी सीरियसली. दीज डीप फेक्स, दोज थिंग्स, रेगुलेटरी मेजर्स आर टू बी रिक्वायर्ड. नॉट ओनली दैट, द एनफोर्समेंट एजेंसीज, दे आर टू बी रीट्रेन्ड एंड स्किल्ड. तो उनके ऊपर भी हमें जरूर काम करना है यहाँ पे. ओके, सो दिस इज व्हाट हैव बीन द ओवरऑल सिनेरियो. ये पूरा खेल है. आगे बढ़ते हैं. हाउ टू एंड the Ukraine war. Okay, now this is the fundamental question. देखिए, I use the term war fatigue and it is quite visible. It will be more visible specifically this Silicon Valley Bank debacle. बिल्कुल इसका नुकसान होने वाला है. So this particular editorial has been written by M.K. Narayanan sir. Now he had been our national security advisor and he is one of the distinguished officers that intelligence bureau has ever had. He is really a gem. So he is telling us about few things. He is telling us that at present this Ukraine war is approaching a stalemate. Other point is this, So at present, you can say Wagner Group, it is fighting. Okay, it is not the Russian army which is gaining some ground. This Wagner Group is fighting in Ukraine, and it is said that that area, that city where they are fighting with the Ukrainians, it has become a meat grinder. वो मीट ग्राइंडर की तरह हो गया है. Now meat grinder is should not be used as a term here, but this is how dead bodies are scattered in that city. Both the sides, they are experiencing the major losses, Ukraine as well as the Wagner Group or Russian forces. This is what is happening, and this shows that both the players, they are not willing to end this war. Rather, there has been some development that Russia, it is showing the intent to even use the hypersonic missiles as well. And this shows that Russian withdrawal is unlikely. Now, when Russian withdrawal is unlikely, definitely it's a state of stalemate. Because now it is clear that Ukraine is assisted by US and the West. So it is developing into a proxy war. कहीं ना कहीं ये प्रॉक्सी वॉर में बदल गया अब. देयर इट हैज टेकन अ रॉन्ग टर्न देयर. अगर यूक्रेन अकेला रहता तो डिफिकल्ट डेफिनेटली डिसीजन हो जाता अभी क्या है फ्यूचर क्या है नहीं. बट दिस टाइम दिस इज द डेवलपमेंट एंड दिस शोज द सीरियसनेस ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर वॉर. अब इम्पैक्ट से सब परेशान है. नाउ देयर हैव बीन सम आउटकम्स ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर वॉर. वन इज दिस, इट हैज एक्सपोज्ड हाउ यूरोप इज डिपेंडेंट on United States. This is what has exposed. Not only that, this has shown that Russians were right in their initial calculation, that Europeans, they have lost the will to fight after Second World War. This is how things have been. That there have been passivity in the European affairs. Countries, they were not even spending on their defense budget. It is just after this particular war, Germany, they have said that they are going to spend somewhere around 100 billion euro, okay, on their defense. It is only after the war. It is only after the war that Sweden, Finland, they are thinking of joining NATO. Earlier they were living in passivity कि चल रहा है जैसा चलते रहने दो. So this was the thing here. Now Europe is painfully aware that it remains entirely at the mercy of NATO and United States alone. Okay, and Europe defense industry continues to remain extremely fragile. कुछ चीज नहीं है उनके पास, यूक्रेन की हेल्प नहीं कर सकते हैं. And this has been the development here, that if this war is prolonged, it will be the European country, European nations which will pay the maximum price of it. सबसे ज्यादा नुकसान किसका होगा? वो यूरोपियन कंट्रीज का होगा, और ऐसा हो भी रहा है. गैस सप्लाई, they are facing the trouble. Economically, economic distress, they are facing the trouble. This is what is happening in Europe right now. And not only that, it has shown, it has demonstrated that US is the true defender of Europe. Now there has been some twist in this. Okay, the twist is like this: after the Afghanistan withdrawal, after US moved out of, you can say, Afghanistan, it dented the image of US. US की image को बहुत dent हुआ था. That this is no more a, you can say, US is no more a global power, this and that. People started talking about these things. Now it has shown that US is a still relevant player, because right now, if the Europeans are helping out Ukrainians, it is primarily with the effort of United States. That without US, Europe would neither have come together to help out Ukrainians. So it means that US is still relevant in the geopolitical affairs. बहुत relevant country है, बहुत important country है. And definitely अभी आगे एक news पढ़ेंगे सऊदी ईरान डील की, वो चाइना ने negotiate कराई है. The competition is also there. Okay, so this is how things are developing, and it has demonstrated clearly that US has the superiority over Russian weaponry. specifically with the Javelin missile. This is the anti-tank missile. Shoulder means the soldier is going to carry this on the shoulder and then fire this missile, Javelin missile. It has shown how good US equipments are in comparison to the Soviet. And this is the alarming thing for us. हमारे लिए यही जागने की जरूरत है हमें. Clear? Now 70% हमारा equipment is Russian. This is how problematic it is. So you talk about tanks. Now India does have somewhere around 4,000 tanks. 95% they are of Soviet origin, Russian origin. We use their engine, their spare parts, this and that. Now we may be working on our own tank arrangements. We are talking about Arjun main battle tank, but uska equipment wahin se aa raha hai. Clear? So this sort of dependency we have. You talk about Sukhoi. Now again we are dependent on Russians for that. So we have somewhere around 260 Sukhoi planes. तो हम इतने डिपेंडेंट हैं उनके ऊपर. वी हैव टू डाइवर्सिफाई, वी हैव टू गेट समथिंग फ्रॉम यूएस. ऑलरेडी दिस वाज देयर इन इंडियाज माइंड. वी आर ऑलरेडी डाइवर्सिफाइंग आवर डिफेंस सप्लाईज. तो उसके ऊपर ऑलरेडी फोकस कर रहे हैं हम. ओके, नाउ आई टोल्ड यू लाइक यूएस की रेपुटेशन अच्छी हो गई है एज अ वर्ल्ड पावर. इट इज प्लेइंग इंपॉर्टेंट रोल एंड देयर हैज बीन चाइनाज एंगल इन दिस एज वेल. ओके, सो एट प्रेजेंट चाइना इज प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर all the eventualities that are happening. Already China is ready for this. Now this has shown how good China is as a good friend of Russia. So it has taken their friendship to next level. Okay, now there has been slight difference. देखिए ये पुरानी दोस्ती है, ये कुछ नया नहीं हो रहा. So you must be knowing that during Soviet time as well, USSR and China, they were friends. But look at the equation of relationship. During that time, USSR was the big brother. China was the younger brother. In the present time, China is the big brother and this big brother is helping out the Russians. So we can openly say that this dependency of Russians on Chinese has dented Russia's diplomatic autonomy. इनकी diplomatic autonomy तो जरूर यहां से impact हुई होगी. So this is the clear development. This is what has been in the present time. ये है असली development जो यहां पे हो रही है. इतनी आसान नहीं है. Clear? And this is the development. So if Russia is getting too closer to China, नुकसान हमारा है. We will be at the losing end. So these are the developments that are taking place. Now we'll move to the next topic that is related to adultery as a misconduct as judicial, you can say, musing. So they are pointing towards few things. Now you already know this fact that in Joseph Shine versus Union of India case, adultery has been decriminalized. Okay, but Supreme Court has stated that it is moral wrong and it can be a ground for dissolution of marriage. So adultery के केस में marriage तो खत्म हो सकती है but criminal charges नहीं होंगे. Because earlier what was the provision? The IPC provision as well as some other legal provisions were like this, that a husband can register a complaint against wife and there were some criminal punishment provisions in that. Now those things have been declared to be unconstitutional, but this is considered to be moral wrong or marriage dissolution हो सकता है. Clear है? Now this provision was given, this judgment was given that as these were in violation of article 14, 15 and 21 of the constitution. उन्होंने बोला कि penal provision in articles का violation है. This was the case. Now what has been the debate in the present time? This judgment was given, but simultaneously court has given the impression that in armed forces, if someone is indulging in adulterous act, in that case disciplinary action can be taken. उस केस में disciplinary action जो है वो लिया जा सकता है. Now this was just the impression. So this has been the development here, that even in armed forces, despite adultery has been declared to be, you can say, it has been decriminalized or it has been declared, this provision of section 497 and others, it has been declared to be unconstitutional, but in armed forces still this is being implemented. तो वहां पे डिसिप्लिनरी एक्शन तो आज की डेट में हो सकता है. Now the question is that how can you have different arrangements for different institutions? So ये एक सवाल है जो यहाँ पे बचा है. This is what they are debating, that judiciary is not clear about it. Okay, so ये सारी चीज है जो चल रही है यहाँ पे. Now we'll move to the next, you can say, news article, that is reimagining the urban-rural dichotomy. Okay, so you need to understand at present lot of things are happening, specifically with the technology and globalization. Rural and urban units, they are coming together. They are coming together. Okay, world over it is happening. Now not only that, we have, you can say, transport mobility. And with this transport mobility, again it has benefited people who are living in rural areas. Now they get a chance to reach out to the industrial centers which are there in urban units. उस industrial center में वो जरूर जाते हैं. So daily they go there and they come back. Okay, this is how, this is the new linkages that is being developed between rural and urban system. ये कहीं ना कहीं ecosystem इस तरीके से हो गया है. And this is the changing relationship between ecosystems and livelihood under diversified economic systems across the rural-urban continuum. And specifically urban के जो periphery वाले area हैं, वहाँ पे तो definitely उन rural areas से लोग बहुत आते हैं urban units में काम करने, their economic activity, livelihood. There are a lot of people who are coming together. And specifically if we see labor, you will find that labor, they do migrate from rural to urban and then in the evening they go back. This is how the system operates in the present time. So they said that in the present scenario, if you seriously want to facilitate development in rural and the urban units, you have to study them collectively. So they said that this notion should be adopted, that we have to put up urban and rural units collectively, and they labeled it as urban rural continuum. इस तरीके से साथ में हमें देखना होगा. Whatever plan you are going to make, whatever policies the government is going to make regarding developmental aspect, governance structure, okay, poverty alleviation, undernourishment, you can say education facilitation, health, environmental management, other things, हर जगह आपको ये थोड़ा conclude करना पड़ेगा. Now why this is important? Because you need to understand. अब देखो solid waste management. Most of the cities you will find a big garbage. Okay, when you will be entering the city, एक बड़ा सा किसी दूर जगह पे बड़ा सा ढेर होगा कूड़े का. Mostly cities में ऐसा हो गया है. It is not just about the Delhi, Mumbai. Now that कूड़े का ढेर basically it is located in the rural belt. So we cannot separate the solid waste management. You talk about river channels that are there. Now if factory waste, it is being dumped in the river channel, the same water will be utilized by the people in rural units. वो लोग भी उसी को use करेंगे. They will use it for agricultural purpose and for their, you can say, household consumption. So this is how problematic it has been. And they said that you cannot treat them separately. एक साथ मिला के चलो, policy making will be more effective. Implementation will be more effective. Now what's the situation? Jurisdiction will be different. Urban area में अलग agency काम कर रही है, rural area में अलग agency काम कर रही है. So we don't want that type of situation. इसलिए this suggestion has been made that you have to see them collectively. Collectively they are not separate. So we do have this example that how affirmative of closeness between urban rural units it has increased. So geographical factors definitely they provided some, you can say, reason in this, that specifically urban area के जो periphery में rural है वहाँ तो connectivity रहेगी ही रहेगी. Okay. Then other, you can say, decentralization has taken place, specifically like because of that the rural urban linkage, it has been improved. The differences has been reduced. Now how decentralization facilitated? So you talk about Zilla Parishad, आपको पता होगा पंचायती राज institution, okay, 3-tier. Zilla Parishad की अगर हम बात करें, now Zilla Parishad has members from both urban as well as rural local bodies. दोनों जगह से यहाँ पे representation आता है. They are working together, working as a team, discussing about the plan. We do talk about integration of the rural plan and the urban plan. दोनों को integrate करने की बातें चलती हैं यहाँ पे. Okay. So urban industrial interaction fields in India are spreading by linking rural and small towns. This is how things have been. Urbanization increase हो रहा है साल दर साल, okay, and increased mobility is there. People are moving around here and there, means from rural to urban. This is how things are happening here. Transportation is good and affordability has also been there, okay. So these are the linkages that we have developed. Not only that, this has strengthened the linkage between production and the labor market. But there are some negative consequences of it. One is this agricultural land. Now it is being used for industrial activity, for production, and it has dented the food security. कहीं ना कहीं हमारी food security के ऊपर असर पड़ा है इससे. Not only that, pollutants, now they are entering the rural life as well. हमारे यहाँ पे solid waste management का इतना बड़ा system नहीं है. We don't have that, you can say, robust solid waste management system in the country. So it is a major problem and all that waste is dumped in the rural units. अक्सर ये बात चलती है कि इस कूड़े के ढेर को सिटी से दूर ले जाया जाएगा, बट सिटी से दूर कहाँ पे लेके जाओगे? किसी रूरल एरिया में जाओगे? Now I am telling you this personal case in the sense I am from Hisar. Hisar is also expanding urban area. Solid waste management system is not there in that city. Okay, not that robust. उसको अच्छे से treat नहीं करते solid waste वगैरह को. Now villagers, they have protested that why you are dumping the city waste in our village. They have started protesting about it. Government took the decision that okay, we are going to shift this particular waste yard or dumpage ground to some other area. Now that area was the another village. So this is the peculiar problem that we are witnessing right now. ये समस्या चल रही है यहाँ पे. And the major problem is this, because you are treating urban and rural units separately. When you treat them separately, एक का कूड़ा का उठा के दूसरे के घर में डाल दो. This is the approach we are, you can say, following right now. आपने वहां से कूड़ा उठाया, you are putting it in someone else's home. Is this the right approach? Certainly not. That's why this suggestion has been made that we have to see them in the collective terms. एक साथ आपको उनको देखना पड़ेगा, otherwise this problem is going to remain as it is. समाधान आसान नहीं है इसका. Clear? Now we'll move to the next, you can say, topic, which is about the rise of ESG regulation. Okay, so they are talking about ESG. ESG stands for, you can say, environmental regulation, social obligation, or laws related to social, you can say, responsibilities, and governance. It covers the Companies Act and all. So environment regulation की बात करें, हमारे यहाँ पे multiple laws हैं. Okay, so Prevention of Air Pollution Act, this and that. Then social responsibility, if you talk about CSR, is there. It's a law under Companies, under Companies Act, this provision is there. Governance point of view, say there are multiple laws. Okay, so Companies Act is definitely one of them. Now the point is this: at present the situation has been that we are emphasizing on ESG regulations, that we are serious about them. We want Indian private sector to basically follow these particular regulations. We are quite serious about it in the present time, specifically when we are debating about climate change. Now, problem that corporates are facing, that if you emphasize too much on ESGs, or if we are coming up with the stringent, strict बना दिया आपने, stringent ले आए आप, their cost of business is going to increase. Because if you talk about ESG, there is a compliance. That compliance will require some expenditure. Free में तो होगा ही नहीं. If we are coming up with the law that companies, they have to adopt green technology, clean technology, efficient system, so they may have to buy a new equipment, but उसके लिए पैसा लगेगा. पैसा नहीं होगा तो how will they move ahead? कैसे आगे बढ़ेंगे वो? तो एक तो ये सवाल सबसे पहले निकल के आ रहा है. Now corporate social responsibility and these are slight different. दोनों थोड़े से अलग हो जाते हैं कहीं ना कहीं. Okay, so corporate social responsibility, it's a fixed thing that you have to dedicate certain amount of your profit for social welfare. उतना लिख दिया है इन्होंने. Now these compliance, if we see, some hidden transaction, some hidden you can say amount can also be there. ऐसा बहुत होगा कि आपको पता ही नहीं होगा कि कितना पैसा लगना है. So these are the new things that are happening, and contrary to that, government is regularly updating the laws. So with the time, government also has to update the laws, और सरकार update करती जाएगी. It means that their compliance, it may also have to be moderated after some years. So this is the debate that they are following right now, but we are specifically focusing on providing protection regarding the environment and the workplace condition. We are quite serious about it. इसके ऊपर हम काम कर ही रहे हैं. Okay, so we are emphasizing, Indian government is emphasizing about this thing, and this is how things have been. SEBI तक इन चीज़ों पे emphasize कर रहा है, Securities and Exchange Board of India. So ये कुछ एक development चल रही हैं. अगली न्यूज पे चलते हैं. व्हाट इज राजस्थान राइट टू हेल्थ बिल? ओके, सो राजस्थान हैज इंट्रोड्यूस्ड दिस राइट टू हेल्थ बिल. नाउ देयर आर सम इंटरेस्टिंग प्रोविजंस एसोसिएटेड विद दिस. सो इट प्रोवाइड्स राइट टू पेशेंट एंड हेल्थ केयर प्रोवाइडर्स, ओके, एंड प्लेसेस द ऑब्लिगेशन ऑन द गवर्नमेंट टू प्रोटेक्ट द लीगल राइट्स एंड मैंडेट्स द सेटिंग अप ऑफ ग्रीवेंस रिड्रेसल मैकेनिज्म. और इसके अंदर प्रोविजन क्या होगा? इफ द पेशेंट कम्स, देन इमरजेंसी केस है, so the private hospital they cannot deny the treatment. Okay, इस टाइप के प्रोविजन है. कंपल्सरी ट्रीटमेंट देना पड़ेगा, आप मना नहीं कर सकते. So from the citizen point of view it is good, and already this is fine because health is a state list subject. Okay, it's a state list subject, and saving human life, it is of prime, you can say, it should be the prime goal. And at the end of the day, medical sciences, ये जो हिपोक्रेटिकल ओथ वो लेते हैं, इट इज द ड्यूटी ऑफ द डॉक्टर टू पुट अप द बेस्ट एफर्ट टू सेव समवन्स लाइफ. ओके, सो दिस इज व्हाट इट इज ब्रिंगिंग टू द टेबल. सो फ्रॉम दैट एंगल इट इज एब्सोल्युटली फाइन. बहुत सही है, बहुत अच्छा है ये. देखिए इसके अंदर ये क्या कह रहे हैं. सो राजस्थान रेजिडेंट्स विल बी एंटाइटल्ड फॉर फ्री चेकअप्स, ड्रग्स, डायग्नोसिस एंड इमरजेंसी ट्रांसपोर्ट एंड केयर एट ऑल पब्लिक हेल्थ इंस्टीट्यूशंस along with affordable surgeries. ये तो पब्लिक का होगा. ओके, प्राइवेट सेक्टर के लिए भी है दैट दे कैन नॉट डिनाई द ट्रीटमेंट टू द पेशेंट्स जो इमरजेंसी कंडीशन में आएंगे. नाउ दिस इज द मेजर कंसर्न विद द प्राइवेट प्लेयर्स. सो प्राइवेट प्लेयर्स दे डू से दैट दिस बिल इज फ्यूटाइल एंड एन एक्सरसाइज इज बेसिकली अ केस फॉर ओवर रेगुलेशन. नॉट ओनली दैट, प्राइवेट प्लेयर आर सेइंग हु इज गोइंग टू फंड दैट ट्रीटमेंट? भाई पैसा लगेगा हॉस्पिटल का, वो कहां से मैनेज होगा? अगर आप ट्रीटमेंट बोल रहे हो तो जो पैसा खर्च होगा वो कहां से मैनेज होगा? सो दिस कंसर्न हैज बीन रेज्ड बाय सम ऑफ द प्राइवेट डॉक्टर्स एंड इट्स अ लेजिटिमेट कंसर्न. भाई पैसा कौन देगा? सरकार देगी, कहीं और से आएगा, क्या होगा? कोई फंड बनेगा, ट्रस्ट बनेगा? नथिंग ऑन दैट पॉइंट. ओके, नाउ व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल और राइट टू हेल्थ, दिस right to health has not been explicitly mentioned in the constitution. Explicitly ये mentioned नहीं है. Okay, we do have DPSP, that is article 38, and you can say article 47, which talks about health. Now article 38 is about promotion of welfare of the people. Welfare of the people will include the health arrangement. When you talk about article 47, it directs the government to basically meet the nutrition and the health requirement of the population. Nutrition और health का इनको ख्याल रखना है. But other than that, no arrangement has been there. Okay, so बात ये है कि mandatory free of cost जो emergency treatment है उसकी cost कौन भरेगा, ये सवाल pending रह गया है. Okay, so this is what they are debating. I don't know what's the solution for that. I am thinking from a citizen's point of view. मुझे तो अच्छा लग रहा है यहाँ पे, बट दिस इज अ लेजिटिमेट क्वेश्चन दैट हु इज गोइंग टू फंड दिस अरेंजमेंट. पैसे का अरेंजमेंट कौन करेगा? बिकॉज इफ दिस पर्टिकुलर थिंग इज नॉट एड्रेस्ड, डेफिनेटली दिस मैटर विल गो इनटू कोर्ट. कोर्ट में कंटेस्ट हो जाएगा. सो कोर्ट माइट डायरेक्ट द लेजिस्लेचर भी आपने ले तो आए, बताओ पैसा कहाँ से लाओगे. सो दीज थिंग्स आर डेफिनेटली देयर. ओके, आगे बढ़ते हैं. नाउ इंडिया साइलेंस ऑन बीजिंग रोल इन सऊदी अरब ईरान डील. दिस इज disquieting. Okay, so this has been some development in the West Asian politics. Now there has been development of I2U2 India Israel. Okay, US and UAE, they are already together, and I2U2 came to light. So it's a basically trade plus strategic grouping that they have formed. Not only that, we do have Abraham Accord that was signed between Israel, UAE, Bahrain and other countries, and it was mediated by United States. तो अब्राहम अकॉर्ड जो कि एक शांति लेके आई थी, it was mediated by United States. US played important role, and here in this you can say Iran Saudi peace deal, the peace has been brokered by China. What is the development in this? Now, as this peace has been brokered by China, it uplifts China's image. And not only that, we already know why this has happened. Majorly this has happened because US is withdrawing from this particular area. And as US is withdrawing, there is a vacuum. That vacuum has to be filled, otherwise new players are going to enter. And it has shown a new player is trying to fill that vacuum and is trying to increase its relevance in the West Asian politics. Not only that, all these countries, they are participating in Belt and Road Initiative. सब लोग इसमें participate कर रहे हैं. Maybe China is thinking about Belt and Road Initiative success, that if the peace is brokered between Iran and Saudi, then definitely BRI successful हो जाएगा. This is what they might be exploring. हमें तो थोड़ा नुकसान हो रहा है, चाइना को थोड़ा फायदा हो रहा है तो okay. This is what things have been, and definitely that's why they say that India is silent about it. Okay, so there is one statement that is written by one of the professor in today's, you can say, editorial, means this article. That statement was written. He is stating that we have no issue in this peace. It's a good thing for the stability of the West Asia. Okay, and stability of West Asia is important. देखिए कैसे ये important है. This stability will facilitate peace in Yemen. सबसे पहली चीज होगी, यहाँ पे आएगी शांति. Not only that, now it is in India's interest as well, because we do have Indian diaspora. हमारा Indian diaspora अच्छा खासा है वहाँ पे. So we don't want things to go wrong for them, because this is how things are done, that Iranians, they do fund lot of Shiite insurgents and terrorist groups. बहुत सारे Shia based insurgent terrorist group को ईरान fund करता है. Okay, so this sort of proxy war they were already fighting in Yemen, and with this particular deal, if it is successfully implemented on the ground, it settles lot of troubles. बहुत सारी problems solve हो जाएंगी. Not only that, Iran is already in talks with United States, okay, for the revival of JCPOA, Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action को already revive करने की बात चल रही है. So US might think it that if US is not able to broker any peace or establish any deal with Iran on this issue, तो यहाँ पे भी चाइना मलाई खा जाएगा. Okay, so this is what has been a significant development. ये सबसे important चीज़ आज की डेट में चल रही है. तो बहुत चीज़ें हैं जो इंटरलिंक्ड हैं. हमारे लिए अच्छा होगा अगर यहाँ स्टेबिलिटी आ जाए, और स्पेसिफिकली ईरान के ऊपर से जो सैंक्शन हैं, वी वांट दो सैंक्शंस टू बी लिफ्टेड. क्लियर? अच्छा, for us there has been this development. Iranian leader, one of the leader, he cancelled his visit in India. Saudi prince, he also cancelled his visit to India. Okay, so this has been the development. दोनों ने ही अपनी विजिट कैंसिल की है इंडिया के केस में, बट ये सारा सिनेरियो वहाँ पे चल रहा है. पॉलिटिक्स इतनी सारी घूमी हुई है, आप देख सकते हो यहाँ पे. ओके, सो दिस इज व्हाट हैज बीन, एंड वी आर होपफुल दैट थिंग्स विल मूव इन राइट डायरेक्शन. ओके, और ये शांति वाली चीज़ बहुत अच्छी है. स्पेसिफिकली विद दिस पीस, ब्रोकर्ड पीस, एटलीस्ट Saudi may not oppose JCPOA, because earlier what was the point, that Saudis were opposing JCPOA. Israelis and Saudis, they both were opposing JCPOA. और अभी ये उम्मीद है कि उसको लेके थोड़ी शांति होगी, कोई खास प्रॉब्लम नहीं आएगी, साउदीज इसको अपोज नहीं करेंगे एंड एमिकेबली दे विल बी एबल टू एस्टैब्लिश पीस। ओके, सो दिस इज व्हाट वी आर होपफुल। और आगे बढ़ते हैं। So more buildings set to achieve the net zero waste. Okay, so government has come up with the guidelines. Basically, we want a proper system for sewage disposal mechanism, and not only that, government guidelines they are talking about that it will be the responsibility to basically end the practices like manual scavenging. तो यहाँ पे manual scavenging जैसी चीज को हमें end करना पड़ेगा और ये responsibility भी these guidelines are bringing here. Okay. Now my take is this: these guidelines will be only effective if our local bodies, specifically the municipal bodies, they do have the capacity. अब capacity की बात करें तो उनको चाहिए funds, functionaries, they are already understaffed, तो functionaries होने चाहिए, okay, and training of those functionaries it is also very critical. अगर वो untrained हैं, they are of no use, किसी काम के नहीं रहेंगे untrained functionaries. So again this is the important part here. So सिर्फ ये गाइडलाइन बनाने से बात नहीं चलती है, you have to look into other aspects as well. ट्रेनिंग के ऊपर आपको काम करना पड़ेगा, though more assistance may be provided to the local bodies. And not only that, so what union government can do, union government can encourage the state governments to basically give finances to the local bodies. तो थोड़ा बहुत अर्बन रूरल लोकल बॉडीज को पैसे देने की जरूरत है एंड स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स दे शुड हैव दिस विल टू गिव मनी टू देम, टू असाइन फंक्शन टू देम, बिकॉज वी हैव सीन इन मोस्ट द केसेस स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स दे आर क्वाइट रिलक्टेंट अबाउट इट. अक्सर ये देखा गया है कि काफ़ी वो रिलक्टेंट रहते हैं. सो दिस इज़ द हाई टाइम दैट वी शुड थिंक अबाउट. ये सारी चीज़ें हमें सोचनी है क्योंकि इसका फ़ायदा होगा ही तभी जब आपकी कैपेसिटी होगी. ओके, सो आप मॉडर्नाइजेशन की बात करते हो, दैट यू टॉक अबाउट ब्रिंगिंग यू कैन से मॉडर्न इक्विपमेंट टू क्लीन द सीवर एंड ऑल. सीवरेज वगैरह क्लीन करने के लिए अक्सर ये पॉइंट होता है कि इंडिया के अंदर एक मॉडर्न यू कैन से मैकेनाइजेशन करना चाहिए, हमें मशीन के थ्रू करना चाहिए, अदरवाइज मतलब लाइक इट इज़ रियली यू कैन से इनह्यूमन. सो they do say that we have to bring that, but that will require some money to be spent. This is what the overall thing is about. So they are coming up with the guidelines and all. Guideline तभी काम करेंगी जब आप उसका implementation कराओगे. So right now they are coming up with the guidelines that state governments they have to incorporate net zero requirement in the building bylaws and ensure implementation. So from this angle it is quite good that specifically from hotels, अब आपको बिल्डिंग का अगर क्लियरेंस लेना है तो आपको ये चीज़ें मिनिमम पहले अश्योर करनी है, तभी आपको वो क्लियरेंस मिलेगा. सो दिस इज़ व्हाट वी कैन एक्सप्लोर हेयर. ये सारी चीज़ें हमें आज की डेट में एक्सप्लोर करनी है. अदर देन दैट देयर इज़ नथिंग मच इन टुडेज न्यूज़पेपर. सो दीज वर द मेजर कंपोनेंट्स फ्रॉम द न्यूज़पेपर. सो दैट्स इट फॉर द डे देन. Thank you very much. Stay tuned, stay connected, stay, you can say, in touch with us. Please do spread the name about this session. We do conduct this session 8 AM in the morning. Okay. So that's it for the day then. Thank you very much.